Greetings, true believers. It is Matt Hall here with a spoiler-free review for The Drifter. Real quick though, I want to say thank you to all of our channel members and Patreon supporters. If you like what we do, consider joining their ranks. And now, on to the video. The Drifter is the latest game from Powerhoof, a two-person game studio located in Melbourne, Australia that has been active since 2013. I've had my eye on this game ever since I saw a Grindhouse-style trailer for it back in 2023. Last month, I got to play through a demo for the game, and last week I received a review copy thanks to Strange Signals, a London-based games PR agency that also turned me on to The Horror at High-Rook, Apartment Story, Your House, Sorry We're Closed, and Betrayal at Club Low, all of which I absolutely loved, and I would highly recommend following Strange Signals to keep up on some cool new games. But back to The Drifter. This is a game in the classic 2D point-and-click adventure style, but it has some modern touches that make it one of the most accessible and engaging adventure games I've played in years. This game has a strong emphasis on story. It's a well-rounded thriller, and going through all of its twists and turns is the real meat of the experience. All of the footage I'm showing here is from the first hour or two of the game, so it might look a bit limited, but rest assured that there is a lot of variety in the locations, characters, and writing. With a mouse and keyboard, the game plays very much like you would expect. You can walk around with the WASD or arrow keys, and you use your mouse to interact with the environment and the things within it. Rather than having a whole list of interactions available for each hotspot on the screen, you'll see a symbol letting you know what type of interaction is available. When you equip an item, those available interactions are subject to changing, to reflect how that equipped item might be used. It's a nice streamlined approach that allows for plenty of experimentation, but won't get you caught up in a bunch of frustrating trial and error. The game plays great on PC, but I played the majority of it on my Steam Deck. Playing the Drifter with a gamepad is super intuitive, thanks to a unique twin-stick control scheme. You move around with the left stick, and you use the right stick to identify hotspots around each scene. All other actions are handled with the triggers and shoulder buttons. Despite being a very authentic point-and-click adventure game, a genre usually associated with mouse and keyboard controls, The Drifter manages to feel completely natural on a gamepad, which wound up being my preferred way to play. The game's story follows Mick Carter, the titular Drifter.
Did you just say tits?
He's back in his hometown after an extended absence, but soon finds himself tangled up in a violent and complex mystery that plays out over the course of 9 chapters, which will each take around an hour to complete, depending on whether or not you get stuck for too long on any of the puzzles. If you do get stuck, the devs have commissioned an interactive, spoiler-free hint guide that you can pull up. Personally, I only had to consult the guide once, and it was due to me not quite understanding the timing of a certain action. I had the right idea, I just wasn't doing it right. This is going to be different for every player, but in general, I found the puzzles in The Drifter to be balanced just right. There's enough going on across multiple story threads that I never felt stuck in one place for too long. I always had something to ponder or someone to chat with in the game to keep things flowing really smoothly. It is possible to make the wrong decisions and get a game over, sort of. Without giving too much away, the game utilizes a unique sort of looping mechanic. Throughout the game, you'll encounter some timed scenarios, where you'll have to solve a puzzle while being threatened by some life-threatening threat. If you fail, you'll immediately get a chance to try again, but your character will retain some knowledge of his previous attempt. For me, this felt like a sort of self-aware statement on adventure games as a genre. Many older adventure games are hard to recommend to new players due to so many of them relying on trial and error, obtuse puzzles, and death traps that just feel cheap or mean. The Drifter never really goes into that territory. All of the solutions to its puzzles are fairly logical, and anytime you fail, you're also going to be learning something that will help you to eventually succeed. Throughout the game, you'll have different means of fast traveling between locations, which is another welcome feature that makes the game feel modern and streamlined without sacrificing any of its depth or character. Overall, the game has a dark, horror-tinged tone that is balanced out with some well-written and emotionally complex characters that provide a variety of interactions. There are a good number of gruesome scenarios, but the game doesn't feel like it's trying to be edgy. Some pretty heavy topics get presented throughout the story as we learn that Mick, the Drifter, has been trying to escape some pretty traumatic memories. The game also features a fair bit of humor, and it rewards players for attempting unconventional responses to certain interactions. The story itself is a deeply layered mystery that slowly unravels, and once I really got a taste for what the story had to offer, I couldn't put the game down. I played through the majority of The Drifter in one day, largely because I just had to know what happened next in the story. I think that fans of psychological thrillers and grindhouse-style horror or sci-fi are especially likely to dig the story here. The game is fully voiced, and the cast does a great job at portraying a diverse set of characters who all feel very fleshed out and realistic as soon as you interact with them. The superb voice acting is enhanced by the game's score, which is mostly made of synth-focused tracks that feel like they could be right at home in a late 70s or early 80s action, horror, or exploitation film. All of the sound effects and ambience are very well executed, with each location you visit really feeling immersive. Overall, I think the sound design and mixing are spot on, and it sounded great even on the tiny speakers of the Steam Deck. The game was created using PowerQuest, which is a tool for Unity developed by PowerHoof. PowerQuest is meant to simplify the process of making 2D adventure games in Unity, allowing developers to put more focus into the content of their games. I've actually covered some games made with the tool here on Hidden Machine. PowerQuest is free to download, and there's a great introduction and tutorial video for it on the PowerHoof YouTube channel. That channel also hosts some developer diary videos covering the making of The Drifter. The first chapter of The Drifter is available as a free demo on itch.io and Steam, with the full game available on Steam and GOG for Windows, Mac, and Linux. There are also plans for a Switch version and possible other console ports, but we'll have to wait to hear more about that. There is a lot more that could be said about The Drifter, but since I'm trying to keep this spoiler-free, that's all I'll say for now. Obviously, I highly recommend this game. If it looks intriguing, go pick up the demo. You got nothing to lose. Minnow's in here. Anyway, play the demo, check it out. We're gonna go play a little bit more of the game ourselves, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Say bye.